Good evening. Welcome to the City of Douglasville's 2023-24 budget public hearing. I'm Mayor Pro Tem Terry Miller, and we will proceed, since this is a Finance Committee matter. I will immediately turn this over to our Finance Committee Chairman, Mr. Councilman Mark Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Under Finance tonight, we have a presentation of the proposed city budget for the fiscal year 2023-24. Ms. Callan is going to come forward and present that. This will be considered our public hearing before we take a vote on it later in the month. Ms. Callan, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening. My name is Karen Callan. I'm Finance Director with the City of Douglasville, and this is our fiscal year 24 public hearing for our budget. So just a quick overview on our budget process. At the beginning of each year, City Council meets. They discuss our priorities for the city throughout the year. Then the department directors meet with the city manager. Each department has maybe about 45 minutes with the city manager, myself, and the finance team. Then the city manager makes her recommendations, and we present a balanced budget to the elected officials. We did that on March 6th and 7th. We did go through each department, each goals and objectives of each department. And then from that point, they make their recommendations, and here we are with our public hearing. And then our budget adoption is final on March 30th, 5:30 p.m. at a special called meeting. So for general fund, it's our chief operating fund. It was a small decrease of 0.2%, so that's 0.002 of $103,000. Our budget is posted online, and you see that I've got the website posted here if you want to take a look at it. Our total general fund expenditures, typically in most local governments, public safety is always your largest piece. Then general government is your second largest piece, and that is, general government includes finance, legal, IT, those types of departments. Our goal each year is to budget with staying under 60% of salaries and benefits, and this year we came out at 57% with capital outlay at 6%. Some highlights of our capital outlay: we did include a 3% merit, but we did not include a cost of living. We do have an 8% health insurance cost increase. Any increase above that will be cost shared with the employee. We have 8% cost increase for pension expense, and we did continue the sick leave buyback and Christmas bonus program. I've listed some of our capital that we have included in here. We've got computer replacements, a Fusus Intelligent Eco Center, which is a camera security center that will be used downtown with the amphitheater, automatic license plate reader, AV equipment, facility improvements, ADA transition plan, and dump trucks and replacement vehicles of $175,000. And we base those off a replacement schedule, a vehicle replacement schedule.
Ms. Callan, question there.
Mm-hmm.
So the two dump trucks and the tandem dump trucks were scheduled to be replaced during that fiscal year.
Yes, sir.
So those costs are already budgeted into our budget. It's not something that's come up that we needed them on short notice.
Correct.
Okay.
That's correct. For general fund revenues, our largest pieces are property taxes at 38% and sales tax at 24%. We have a sales tax slide here to show the outcome of our local option sales tax agreement. From 22 to 23, we have an 8% increase and a 16% increase. We only have a 4% increase this year, and that is due to the local option sales tax agreement negotiations. This slide shows the difference between the gain of the 1% received by the county and the loss that the city received. And then we have coming up in fiscal year 25, which begins in January of 2025, fire services and animal control agreement with a 3% escalation each year. Our millage rate history, and this is by tax year, we are proposing a $1.25 for our millage rate increase, somewhere between $1 and $1.25, and that will depend on what our tax digest comes back as. And for our bond millage rate, that is increased by 1.15, and that is due to the Jesse Davis Park referendum. For general fund, our debt service expenses are West Pines Golf Course, utility relocation, and then the amphitheater. And that represents 2.8% of the general fund. Moving on to the enterprise fund, which is our sanitation services, we are projecting a 13% increase in revenues and a 55% increase in landfill services, for a total of 11.6% increase overall. For our special revenue funds and our debt service funds, our special revenue funds consist of 2 LMIGs, which help fund our street resurfacing. We have a couple of criminal justice grants, and then we have our Boost grant. Confiscated asset funds is increased by 6%. Of course, we don't project increasing for drug seizures. That is, revenues are funded by their fund balance. We have many special revenue funds, and I have those listed here in debt service funds. The new debt service fund is for Jesse Davis Park. And then we also have an increase of 634% in the tax allocation district fund. And that is due to the large increase in property value for those parcels of land. The American Rescue Plan Act of $12.6 million that the city received has been helpful in funding the city's capital program. The large item in that budget this year is the $4.5 million for recycling center. For SPLOST 2022, this is a breakdown of the different percentages. Facilities at 20%, Parks and Rec 10%, Transportation 35%, and Public Safety 35%. I believe at the last meeting, they wanted to know the different percentages of the 2022 SPLOST.
Ms. Callen, just one note there. These are different than the 16 splosh that we just came out of.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad that you included that so that those with us and those that might be watching could also see the various percentages. They have changed
Yes, sir.
since the 16 splosh.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Then we will post this deck online, but we do have a summary of all our funds. Special revenue fund, multi-year funds, and debt service funds. And that concludes the presentation. Our budget adoption dates are Thursday, March 30th at 5:30 at the special call meeting, and the budget document can be found online. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you, Ms. Callen. This being a public hearing, we need to give opportunity to anyone that would like to speak concerning this. You would have 5 minutes. Please come forward if you have anything to speak concerning for or against this budget. Please come forward. You got nothing, Mr. Siegel?
I've already discussed it.
All right. Seeing that there's no one here to make any public comment or question concerning it, we will then close this portion of the public hearing. And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, that's all that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any other items, issues, or information to be brought forward this time for this meeting? Seeing none, then this meeting is adjourned till our 6 o'clock regular voting meeting.